All right, greetings, Hive members. Hope you all are doing well today. It is day 69 of my 90-day challenge. And yeah, so far, so good. Just taking it one day at a time. And hopefully everyone's having a wonderful start to their weekend. And yes, it for here, us in Canada or where I am. Yeah, it's the start of the spring break for my youngest son. So he'll be home for the next 2 weeks, and the important part that definitely save some time and some trip driving and picking him up from school, and at the same time his taekwondo and his swimming is done. His swimming's done. His taekwondo is for now off for this first week of spring break. So yeah, definitely we'll be spending some time here, right? Um, Together at home, and then I definitely will want to get him through doing his goal setting, so at least he can see the value of, that's the thing, there's actually two topics. Well, one topic, but then this has come up for me, so I might change the topic of this segment here, this stream. But it happens at school, it happens at work, and even during this challenge, right? It even happens in just like us, just once again, if you guys were watching from past stream, us just going from point A to point B. So one part is just, especially when it comes to, let's give an example of schooling, right? Us studying, us learning, right? Us getting the education just to get, from point A to point B, from our studying to get to the exam, right? Or the test, right? So our segments of learning is only up to that point. And sometimes, with the work as well, example is just us just meeting the current requirements, right? And for the health, us just hitting that goal target, right? And for us, it's like myself, the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? So and sometimes just that's it, just us hitting that point, and then we're on to the next thing, right? And sometimes our decisions and what we do, right, it doesn't far exceed our goals to the future. So I mean, once again, our current self, or even let's go to the point of what we make per paycheck dictates what we can do, but at the same time, if we don't go deeper in knowing the direction that we want to go in, then obviously, our laser being just like focus becomes like, like this, right? And it's just, it's too spread out, right? Too spread out for us to really focus and narrow down on certain things. So I mean, this is kind of combination of what my topic for today, which is, does our past rule us today? And from various people who just, not using the excuses, but their reasoning of why things, are the way they are for them is because, one, probably, my parents made me do this as a child, right? And you know my teachers would scold me if I do this, so this is the way I do things, right? They always fed me, so I have that part where I need to be fed. If I'm sick, they take, you know we would always have this to, help us, overcome the sickness, right? There's just certain rules that, have been given to us at an early youth, because who was us to judge as a youth, as a child? Who are we to judge or question um, those things from, we'll say, our parents, right, or our grandparents, or family members around us, right? Teachers, right? Like, we trusted these individuals to teach us and to guide us, and at that point, we are just getting the experience, right? Now the thing is, like, say now we're adults, right? And we have our own sets of responsibilities. um, we have to look after ourselves now. Even say that, give me 1 second. Even say that, you know we no longer live with our parents, or we graduated and have new teachers, right? What is what is stopping us from visiting these things that have taught us, that were taught to us, right? A good example is, for us, is, you guys have heard how elephants were trained, right? And they, at a young age, they were given, uh, a metal or steel, chain and and shackles to, keep them in place. And obviously, as much as they tried to break free from those restraints, nothing was that, they couldn't, right? And just imagine that, as they grew up, and obviously, like, they're huge, and then, they're only tied up by a rope, right? And through that lens, they look at this rope as, that metal chain that they can't break free, right? So is that how we kind of are living our lives today, and just not questioning anymore of, our upbringings, or just basically, accepting? This is one that, Vision Lichiani, the founder of Mind Valley, and the one that, where I went my schooling for my holistic coaching. Basically, he has he calls these things rules, and uh, in that's for short, right? But in length, it's just, bullshit rules, as he would like to say it, right? Because, obviously, there's, if we want to go through science or we want to go through facts, right? We don't, you know, we accept that, the stuff that's been given to us, right, through our social outlets have, are that. And, we accept this information not knowing, the facts and the, we'll say, scientifically or analytically backing behind this these information. So, but like once again, through holistic things, you know, because we trust, these individuals to be, to know a lot of things, and at the same time, we're giving information out to other people. How much of that information is us doing research? How much is that information just us hearing it from someone else, hearing it, and hopefully, once again, hearing it on the radio, right, or on the, or our social media outlets? Like, how much is that, uh, you know, true, or have we even gone through, citations and whatnot to, okay, sounds, here's the research on that. We don't even go to that stage, right? So, um, that's the thing, how much of our past that, how much of we're living today with, you know, uh, stuff that we learned in our past, right? And if we're in the situation where, we're not happy and we're constantly giving reasons of this has happened to me in the past, right? Then obviously, that is, restricting you from ever moving forward, as we're bringing our past into our future. And that is preventing us from reaching any sort of goals, when we attempt to break free as the, as the young elephant, breaking free from, a metal shackle, and uh, once it gets a little bit harder, right? Or even as adults now, and we just, we, that slight tug, we feel that tug on the, from the rope, and we're handcuffed and saying that, okay, you know what, yeah, I'm not, yeah, that experience in the past has, reminded me that, uh, the work, the effort that's gonna take to do. So I'm not gonna, the pain's not strong enough, right? It's just, you know enough to just, if it's not killing us, right, then, we can manage this, this current, this current challenge, this current, life that we're in. And that's why, as it's, as I always say on the end of the stream, is that, even though this has been your experience, this, even though this is your past, and you just have no other reasons to believe anything new that, will help you. That's why it's very important to have that environment. For the meantime, if you don't trust it yourself, then just, once again, if we're trusting others, then, trust the others who already, been there. And, not at the same time, they're not going to walk that journey for you, but they will, share their experience, and it's really up to you, us now, to take that responsibility and implement these subtle things. And if we, you know, run into a problem, then obviously, you know, we don't give up, right? Right? We have resources, and that's why it's very important to have that environment as you know your work. You're continuing to work on yourself, right? So definitely, today is a great example, and this is probably the reason why I'm starting my stream late. Is that even today, like I have a 3D printer, and I just got it like late or I believe October of 2024. And once again, still fairly new at it, right? And you know, but I am in environment, especially you know, just think of it, you know, like Meetup and whatnot. But Twitch has many communities, and we are heading into, you know, as Alex Hamosi would love to say, if you guys don't know him, check him out. That you know, we're moving into an era of live streaming. YouTube and is great and all, right? And it's a free resources, but you know, you once again you look for a solution, right? You go to YouTube, try to find the latest information as much as possible, at the latest UI. I said UI, users interface, yeah, UI, and you know certain things, right, up to date. But at least you know with live streams, you can you can get the answers um, as quick as possible, at the latest as possible, with you know someone who's gone through the work. And that's definitely what's my experience. Just the last hour is just especially Friday, I was just having issues with my machine, and obviously, like I'm one who does not like to take it apart and whatnot, and just like, oh no, well, there's an extra piece. Oh no, I don't know where this went. This is coming from. So definitely, like me, I'm in a community of people who do 3D printing, and you know they live stream, and you know they sharing their prints. And if you ever get into if you get stuck, right, once again, my mentor or one teaching me is Stephen Poole. He runs me down, and then you know I message, and here I am now. And then on stream, he's like, okay, you know, try this out and see if that's going to be the fix. And you know, there's just so much you can do with a YouTube video, right? And you just run as much, and then you know, if it's not exactly what you see in the YouTube video, then you're gonna start searching again for another avenue, right? So it's, you know, the environment's very important to get you you know moving forward, at the same time while you're still, you know, trying to develop yourself, right? So having that resources through you know people who have gone through the experience, right? As at the same time as you get your own experience, your own truth, and then you know backing that up with research and information, data, right? So once again, it's very important that you know your past knowledge, your past restrictions don't govern where you need to go. They get you to the point where you are now, right? But at the same time, if you're, you know, you're living in the past, you're not really progressing. Now, if you're focusing on the future, right, then when you come to tomorrow, right? You basically set yourself up to now propel yourself again to uh, accelerate yourself faster on the next day. And that's like for my sayings, like, what's the one thing I can do today that will make tomorrow easier? And if you stack more of that every single day, like, you know, you're building towards like 3 days from now, 5 days from now, a week from now, a month from now. You're setting yourself in a way that you're having that snowball effect. You're compounding, right? The stuff that you're dealing today has been taken care of yesterday, right? And that's the thing. It's like, if we're living our past from our challenges in our childhood, say the lack of resources, the lack of guidance, experiences that were not comfortable, right? And preventing us to create relationships in the future, right? And even now, right? Then obviously, we're setting up ourselves tomorrow to break those relationships, right? Because as people, we all want to move forward, but at the same time, we ourselves are preventing ourselves to uh, let ourselves progress. It's like, yeah, no, that's fine and dandy, but I've went through this, and no, it doesn't work for me, and yeah, I just won't attempt it again. Right? So that's the thing. If we're not, we're letting the past decide a lot of uh, who we are. And that's the thing, who we are today, right? Sometimes does not reflect who we want to be, right? If we're focusing on that past experience and bringing that for us every single day, we're bringing that towards tomorrow, right? So once again, a good one to say is like, good question to ask ourselves is that we use in a way that we think in the past again, right? But why don't we use this question in a forward movement? So the question is, it can be usually it's used for relationships. Like, what if? Right? Then that's the word. 2 words. What if I was with that other person? What if I took that opportunity? Like, let's say my parents, right? This is stories from them, and that's the thing, right? What if we did invest in that Ponzi scheme called McDonald's, right? What if we, decided to invest in real estate, right? So, and that's the thing, though. We're now once again we're backtracking in the past, something that's already has happened, right? And we can't go back to that. We can learn from it and to build that foundation of something that we can get started today, right? And now think about the forward. So why can't we use that same question, those 2 words? What if I started investing today? What if I decide to, you know, I'm seeing this person. Why don't I give that a chance, right? Why don't we just use that 2 word question to basically bring ourselves out of the past, bring ourselves out of a toxic relationship, right? Or experience of what if the future does look bright? What if I started investing in real estate? What would that look like, right? what if, like I said, if you're still, so say if you're still in that, in that relationship, right? Then, once again, I'm sorry that you're going through that. But think about, what if I'm out of this, relationship? What does that look like, right? And that's just, once again, this is using question that is, thinking the alternatives from the past into taking that question and looking what the alternatives look like in the future, right? So once again, the past has happened, and we went through those experiences, right? But at the same time, you know it does not need to govern us into the future, right? And a good example is, like, someone who's done you wrong, right? Say someone that you went into partnership with, and you're working together on building this business together, and then you found out your partner stole 100K at that moment, and and you're just like, you know you're dumbfounded, you're angry, you're upset, and you know what you just are, you know just want to go after this person, right? And this is the relationship that, every time you see this person and whatnot, you're angry, you're triggered, right? So that's the thing, one part of just, having that forgiveness, as well, right? Being a forgiving person, not saying that you forgive the actions of the person, and at the same time you're being forgiving, and you try to reason, you try to rationalize as much as possible, and you find out that, you maybe just justify saying that, maybe, and the probably some reasons that you understand. Maybe your partner's wife is sick and dealing with health issues, and maybe money was tight and whatnot, and he did what he had to do, right? So, but the thing is, like I said, you're not forgiving. Yeah. You're forgiving of what has happened, but you're not, at the same time, you're not, by court of law, we'll say, you know you're not forgiving the action. Hopefully that, makes sense. It's just, it's, once again, it's a criminal offense, right? We'll just say the action has happened, right? But at the same time, you're no longer gonna let this this thing rule you again, because you made peace with what has happened, and that's all we need to do at this point, is make peace at what has happened already, and just live your life, right? Live your version of what happiness means, what peace means, peace of mind means to you, and live your life through that, rather than having holding on to that past, of, like, especially that situation is like, oh, I could have been having a successful business if I did not partner up with this person, right? Or if he didn't take this 100K from me, I could have invested that into opening a second store or whatnot. Like, why would that's the thing, right? Now you're into that state of reliving that event again, right? And justifying that, that you want to, these are the things that you would do. And once again, you thought of stuff that you would have done with that money. So why can't you just like, okay, this is the I have these things that I wanted to do. This is the current situation I am in right now. Can I still, what can I do to, you know, continue that dream, right? And this is the thing. We're make Our past is making us swim upstream. Everything happens, downstream. And if life's predetermined and, um, you know, why make it difficult on us by, trying to go against the current of life, trying to keep ourselves boxed into, you know, the past, right? If you follow the current of life, and once again with putting yourself in an environment of people in that same who understands and knows what you are trying to achieve, right? Why don't you, grab that, not only just yours, but also as they say, the rudder or the steering mechanism, and guide yourself down that river, right? Right. There's one part of letting the river, guide you, you know, following the flow of the river. Obviously, now you're giving up your power to just let fate, or just say, make fate decide for you, right? You can actually, steer, and once again, having the meditations and breathing exercise and just clearing your, staying healthy to, enhancing those feelings, those intuition, that gut feeling, those signals, right? And then just stirring, taking the wheel, right, and just stirring in that direction that you feel that makes sense to you, right? So once again, just not gonna make this long, but hopefully you guys understand that you have the power and to take responsibility for your own journey. Hence, the past has happened, and you know, and it needs to be, once again, a learning experience, a challenge that we overcome for us to now decide where our happiness needs to go from here on out, right? Not only, not just that was a mistake, I'll never do that again, right? Right. And once again, you're creating a situation that every time you see it, it's gonna create a negative feeling. It should be a part where you see it and it's like, you know what, I have my happiness right here, over here, so I'm good. That has happened, but I'm here in a in a better situation. And once again, a great one I heard was like, what's right for you is also right for the other person. What does that mean? Right? So, well, we'll say that you guys, you broke up with your girlfriend. Obviously, it was probably a tough situation. And we'll give an example of work, right? But what's probably right for you, maybe you guys just didn't click. We'll just say that, right? Right. So but you definitely, what's right for you is that you're out of this relationship and you're on to living your life, and maybe down the road you find that other person. So how does this affect the other person that you left? Well, then once again, it wasn't happening for both of you. So what was that giving up on that relationship might have meant that you're finding a new person that will love them and respect them as well. And same as for you, finding a person that loves you for who you are and respects you for who you are, and you know that decision was right for both of you, right? Another example for work, just say that you're the manager, you're the owner of the company, and unfortunately you had to let this person go, and obviously you know they're probably angry and frustrated with that situation, being let go, being fired. But at the same time, you know what, from that experience that they have, and uh, working for you, it's for you as the owner, it's right for you, because this person was just not you know living up to the company expectations, right? So letting him go was right for you to find someone for that. And at the same, and at the other end, like them being there and just being in environment that obviously they're being pushed to meet certain standards, right? Probably letting being let go was great decision for them, because now they found uh, a work environment that is uh, to their standards, right, and their expectations, and maybe even say it's even better opportunity for them. So either way, both win, right? So, but if we're in the state of that person that can't let go, right, then that is truly you know unfortunate, right? Because each day that we live in that unable to let go, right, each day we give up our most valuable asset, our time, right? So yeah, just life happens, right? And these events are often there to forge us. If gold is tested by fire, what uh, we ourselves have to go through these different challenges, these different tests, for us to overcome and move forward. But if we let one test, one exam that we didn't pass, um, basically makes us, it's only failure if we actually give up, right? And if we give up, once again, there's a difference of giving up uh, on the relationship, or giving up on you know ever loving again, right? So two different things, right? You're just closing one door, but we're making sure we open another door, right? So I can go through we can go through a list of metaphors and whatnot, but I definitely, once again, I'm sure you guys understand that living the past is not really living at all, right? So once again, just using those two word question, what if, what would the future actually look like if we actually take action on this, if we actually take this gut feeling, right? And once again, it's not only, we don't treat it like a lottery, right? But actually you know put in the work, put in the research, and limit the exposure, or what, the risk, as much as possible. It's not enough just going like, I heard this tip, let's do it. It's like, let's you already had that gut feeling, let's really support that feeling with the information. Is this true? Is that true? Okay, you know there's an article on this, there's a research on that, right? Let's say 15 YouTube videos are saying the same thing, right? So that's just binge that information regarding that one, that gut feeling, that choice that that's resonating with you, right? And that's the thing, manifesting is easy. It's just, are willing to accept that, you know, accepting things that come our way, right? And sometimes that's been drawn from the past. And for myself, being on this journey for 20 plus year, and that FOMO feeling, fear of missing out, you know what? There's always another opportunity. Just imagine like 10 years from now, 10 years in the past. Like obviously, were we thinking about AI? Right now, let's just say AI has opened a lot of opportunities of works that are amplifying the speed of work. And that's the thing, we need to realize that amplifying the speed of how we do things, not replacing what we need to do, but amplifying our speed of what we do daily so that we can learn new things, right? And that's the thing, we're living in the past, and we're comfortable, we settled, and comfortable and settling, right, does not even keep up with the flow. You're letting if you're maintaining, you're behind, right? So a small progression, even 1% each day can lead up to a lot of things into the future. But if you're not thinking about the future, if you're not in your health, not always thinking about what you're gonna look, that beach body in summer, or when we finally get into summer, enjoying a hike, enjoying cycling, whatever that that will give you that energy, that joy, having the energy to enjoy that trip. If you don't, and we're just focusing on that, okay, I just need this 10 pounds, I need 9 pounds, right? And that's not enough of a fuel to keep you motivated and keep you going. All right, anyways, this has been another long stream. Hopefully, once again, this has been helpful for you guys. If this has been helpful, feel free to like and give this video the thumbs up. Once again, this is being streamed on 3 different platforms. So this is on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So feel free to subscribe or follow, or hit that notification buttons to get updates when I go live. You can also scan this QR code to go to my Linktree style website, or head over to coachryanj.com to get the latest updates. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. Hopefully this has been helpful, because it definitely has been eye-opening as well. At the same time, just makes life a lot easier when you're not swimming upstream, right? So once again, just continue to invest, raise your environment, right? There are groups, there are people out there who have been through what you've been through, or has been where you want to go. And that's the thing we need to, like, once again, words are very important. There are people who are where you want to go, and once again, not just theory, but gone through it, right? So but it's really up to us to we'll look for those people, create that environment around us, surround ourselves with those people. And once again, association, as they say, who are your 5 friends, you are the 6, right? So if you surround yourself to people that the direction that you need to go, then more likely you'll be heading in that same direction. And that's now what that direction means, it's really up to you, right? You can be with people who keep reminding you of your past, or you can be with people who can remind you of your possibility, right? What you can actually be, right? So once again, raise your environment so that you can raise yourself. And once you become that person that you sought out, then you finally can be that impact in your own environment, your friends, your family, your colleagues, your own community in the future, right? Imagine being able to, you know, share your own real experiences with those people who are just in the same position where you are, right? Pay it forward. You can finally now relate to what someone may be going through, and an act of kindness, knowing that this is just temporary, right? And lending out a hand. Once again, having that ability, right? It's not only just lending out a hand, but then you can really support them fully. That's why it's very important to work on yourself first, so that you are able to truly help someone, right? And even once again, once you have that feeling, right, it's impossible way to help everyone, but you definitely have the ability and power to help one person at a time. So what are your contributions to this world, right? So once you have that, that this is a forever life mission of yours. And that's definitely something I'll bring up in the workshop, 3-day workshop that's happening on the 23rd here of March. So hopefully you guys are welcome to join, and I'm looking forward to serving you all. And that has once again that has kept my passion going throughout the many detours of life, right? So especially this COVID, right? That still reminds me, like, this is a phase, this is just something that has happened to us, but the mission's still strong and true. All right, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I wish you all a wonderful rest of the weekend. I will catch you once again on the next stream. Take good care.